Welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking the incredibly dramatic origin story of Lord Ganesha, and more importantly, we're going to decode the profound psychological symbolism hidden right beneath the surface. If you've ever looked at this beloved elephant-headed deity and wondered, how exactly did he come to be? Well, stick around, because you're about to discover a story that goes way, way beyond just a simple myth.
So, let's just dive right into the deep end here. We're starting with a massive paradox. Why on earth did the notoriously peaceful Lord Shiva commit such a seemingly absurd, violent act against a child? I mean, severing his own son's head? On the surface, that sounds literally unimaginable. But, as we'll see, ancient Indian texts frequently use these highly dramatic narratives to explain some seriously deep spiritual sciences.
Part 1. The Guard of Mount Kailash. To really understand this mystery, we've got to go all the way back to the beginning on Mount Kailash. Goddess Parvati was at home getting ready for a bath.
Now, wanting some uninterrupted privacy, she explicitly told her husband Shiva's bull, Nandi, to guard the door and let absolutely no one pass. Nandi faithfully took his post, totally intending to carry out her wishes, but when Lord Shiva came home and naturally just wanted to come inside, well, Nandi had to let him pass. His ultimate loyalty was always first and foremost to Shiva. As you can imagine, Parvati was pretty angry at this slight, but honestly, she was even more upset at the realization that she had literally no one whose ultimate loyalty was to her alone.
Now here is where things get really fascinating. Look at the hidden meaning here. On a literal level, sure, this is a domestic dispute over privacy and loyalty. But spiritually, Parvati represents manifest energy, the Kundalini Shakti, while Shiva represents the supreme, unmanifest consciousness, or just absolute serenity. So this little interaction, it's actually setting the stage for a massive cosmic shift.
Section 2. A son born from dust. Feeling like she desperately needed a truly loyal guard of her own, someone who would put her absolutely first, Parvati decided to take matters into her own hands. She literally gathered the turmeric bathing paste straight from her body, breathed life into it, and created a young boy, declaring him to be her very own loyal son. This is so highly symbolic. The turmeric, it represents earthbound impurities. Yellow is also the color of the Muladhara chakra, right at the base of the spine, which is where that dormant Kundalini energy actually resides. So this boy made of turmeric essentially represents the earthbound, ego-bound soul.
Number 3. The severed head of ego. Okay, so the next time Parvati wanted to bathe, she posted this brand new boy at the door with very strict instructions. And in due course, Shiva comes home, only to find this strange boy telling him he couldn't enter his own house. Things escalate fast. A furious Shiva orders his entire army to destroy the boy. But guess what? They all fail. The boy possesses just immense power, being the son of Devi herself. So, surprised and seeing this is clearly no ordinary child, the usually peaceful Shiva decides he has to step in personally. In a flash of divine fury, he severs the boy's head, killing him instantly.
So what's the real takeaway here? It's this. Shiva represents the supreme teacher who is violently cutting off the stubborn, limited small ego of the soul. You see, the soul, when it's surrounded by this murky cloud of ego, totally fails to recognize the divine. The guru's ultimate job is to sever that prejudiced ego so we can finally experience vast, transcendental consciousness.
Section 4. The threat to all creation. Well, when Parvati learned what happened to her son, she was utterly devastated. And remember, she represents the physical, material world in this context. She was so enraged and insulted by his death that she decided to literally destroy the entire creation. This perfectly illustrates a profound spiritual truth. When the ego is destroyed, the liberated soul loses all interest in the temporary physical vehicle. The illusion of the external world, which totally depends on the ego to even exist, simply vanishes along with it. Obviously, Lord Brahma, the creator, has some major issues with his entire universe being destroyed, so he frantically intervenes. He pleads with Parvati to reconsider, and she finally agrees to spare the universe, but only under two extremely strict conditions. Her son must be brought back to life, and he must forever be worshipped first before any of the other gods. Number 5. The elephant head of wisdom. Shiva, having kind of cooled down by this time, and realizing his mistake, agreed to Parvati's terms. He sent Brahma out on a very specific cosmic mission.
He ordered Brahma to bring back the head of the absolute first creature he crossed that was laying down sleeping with its head facing north, or Uttar. Now this is fascinating because Uttar translates to both the direction north and the ultimate answer. Basically, Shiva was seeking the ultimate cosmic solution here.
Brahma soon returned with the head of a strong, powerful elephant, which is actually incredibly symbolic. Think about it. Elephants are the only animals that naturally fan their eyes with their ears, which represents wide, 180-degree listening and deep, focused observation. Plus, an elephant just walks effortlessly through the jungle, totally uprooting any obstacles in its path. This head perfectly represents vast wisdom and the universal ego.
So, placing this powerful elephant head onto the boy's body, Shiva breathed new life into him. He officially declared Ganesha to be his own son as well, gave him the status of being foremost among the gods, and boom, we have the beloved deity we recognize today.
Notice how beautifully this builds spiritually. The Supreme Lord literally replaces our small, prejudiced ego, that severed head made of dirt, with a vast, highly functional, universal self represented by the elephant head. This new ego is tied to the world for one reason only: to benefit all of creation.
Section 6. The Remover of Obstacles. With his renewed life and this incredible universal perspective, Ganesha was given a supreme title and a very vital responsibility.
Shiva declared him Ganpati, which means the leader of the ganas, or classes of beings. And these ganas, they encompass absolutely everything, from the natural forces and elements of the universe, right down to the subtle, invisible workings of our own bodies and minds.
Here's why this matters for us. If we don't honor the Ganeshas, our actions in the world are essentially unsanctioned, and we're going to face constant resistance. But by receiving Ganesha's grace, we naturally harmonize with the universe. As the Lord of Categories, he literally removes all our potential obstacles on the path to success, making our endeavors practically effortless. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a pretty provocative thought to reflect on for your own spiritual journey, from the head to the heart. We've just seen exactly how the small mind has to give way to universal wisdom. So what obstacles in your own life are being created by your small ego? Take a moment to think about that, and maybe use a little bit of this ancient wisdom to clear your own path.